What up, YouTube? We're jumping into our U.S. news now. Getting right into it with just a little bit of climate news. I thought this was pretty relevant to talk about. For the fourth day in a row, Earth has broken or equaled its hottest average temperature record. Look, I mean, it's happening. It's happening. We are dealing with an existential crisis. Oh, that's a very interesting... someone spent a lot of time figuring that one out. Equaled, all right. Yep. See, I mean, that's it, right? I do think, and not to be nihilistic about this, but it does seem like this climate issue is going to have to get a lot worse before it gets better. Earth's average temperature has set a new unofficial record high once again, the fourth day in a row. It has broken or equaled such a milestone. The planetary average temperature hit 17.23 degrees Celsius on Thursday, surpassing the 17.18 Celsius record set on Thursday and equaled on Wednesday. It was hot as hell. According to the data from the University of Maine's Climate Reanalyzer, wow, that's cool. That's a cool. Do they have a reanalyzer machine? A tool? Yes, they do. A tool that uses satellite data and computer simulations to measure the world's condition. Very cool. A previous record of 17.01 Celsius was set on Monday. That average temperature includes measurements from places that are sweltering under dangerous heat, such as Xinjiang, China, which I believe Xi Jinping literally said, no outside work. It was so hot. If you work outside, don't be outside. I mean, when the Chinese government steps up and is trying to save lives, you know this is an issue. Which checked in at almost 43.3 Celsius, and from places where it is merely unusually warm, like Antarctica, where temperatures across much of the continent were as much as 4.5 Celsius above normal this week. The United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, on Thursday issued a note of caution about the main tool's findings. Boy, that was awkward. Saying it could not confirm data that results in part from computer modeling. Quote, although NOAA cannot validate the methodology or conclusion of the University of Maine's analysis, we recognize that we are in a warm period due to climate change, the agency said in a statement. So everyone's eyes are rolling in the back of their head, blah, 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 blah. Do something. Follow my 3-step program. You're like, I don't know what to do. Stop shaming me. This is my sexual orientation, is to not do anything about politics. Stop kink shaming me. All right? Okay, calm down. I have a 3-step program to create political change. Step 1, inform yourself. That's why you're here. Congratulations. You've already achieved step 1. Step 2, you got to join a progressive political organization. And hey, there are tons of join the, what are they called? Just Stop Oil. There's a million organizations just for you if you want to make climate your thing, right? Join it. Donate money, donate time. It's fun. You'll meet people. You'll get out of the goddamn house, maybe. Whoa, right? Whoa, you'll have an excuse to go outside of going to the fucking grocery store and spending half your life savings. And then step 3 is just like I said, you got to put in the work, and it can be a lot of fun. But that's the only way this shit's going to change. It's not just going to magically get better. I can tell you that. It's not going to get magically better. Now, there is a rebuttal to doomsayers that are like, we're all fucked. There is a good rebuttal that things are getting better moderately. Technology is getting better. Awareness is getting better. Really, the only thing holding us back is politics. The technology's there. We know what's happening. We and in a lot of cases, we know exactly what we need to do to stop it. And in some cases, we know what to do to fix it. The only thing stopping us is characters like Mitt fucking Romney, dude. And fucking Hakeem Jeffries. Now I guess AOC as well, now that she's just fully on board with the Democratic establishment. No. We're going to talk about that a little bit more coming up, AOC. But it's not just going to magically fix itself. So if you have a problem with this, I have a fucking solution for you. I'm not one of those commentators that just goes, wow, that's bad, and then moves on. I actually have answers. You don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I know exactly what you can do. Follow me. I'll tell you exactly what you need to do to fix this problem. I have the balls to say it. Moving on from our upcoming apocalypse, climate apocalypse. No biggie. But moving on, we should do an update on the UPS worker strike. Love to see it. Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. More of this. Quadruple this. Strike, full on shut down. Strike across the entire nation. Work shut down. Okay? That's what we got to do. Let me tell you, one day, if like 15% of America didn't go to work on one day, it would be #1 story. Because so much money would have been lost in a single day. Stock prices. Oh my God, go back to work. Oh my God. It would work. It would work.
Are getting closer to striking as union negotiations stall with the company.
The potential strike could have devastating impacts on the nation's economy. As many as 340,000 full-time and part-time drivers, loaders, and package handlers could walk off the job beginning on August 1st. While both sides say there was progress, while accusing the other side of walking away from the table during negotiations.
The union is working to secure higher pay along with more full-time jobs for its workers. It is also looking to remove surveillance cameras from its delivery trucks and same page for all employees who do the same job.
So wait a minute. If you don't know this, most of these trucks don't have AC. But so they went out of their way to put fucking cameras in their sweat boxes to make sure their fucking serfs are working to peak efficiency in their goddamn little torture chambers. They took the time to do that, spent the money to do that. They make their own trucks, right? I'm sure they contract it out, but obviously they're custom vehicles, right? Can't put an AC in there, right? Probably because of fuel cost savings, right? Let's be real. But they put surveillance cameras in there. Are we putting up with this? A general strike? A worker strike of each individual? This is what makes them listen. This is what makes them listen. Don't get yourself twisted that these people give a shit about your humanity. It's about their fucking wallet, because what happens, right? All the noise, all the fury, all the fucking, the teeth gnashing and the swearing. And what do? They get in their fucking click. There goes the door. There goes the car door. Drive away. Back to my pretty little home and my pretty little family where I spend all my money. It all goes away. Right? They honestly get to just close the door, and there you go. They're not dealing with this. These people that are making these decisions. That's why they're so fucking out of touch, right? So don't feel bad. Don't feel like you have allegiance. Don't, because like it's like, oh, I don't know if this is right. I don't know. I feel bad, right? No, they hate you. They hate you. And the moment they can replace you with robots, they're going to do it. They put your ass right on the street. With a smile, dude. With a fucking smile. So take. This is your labor. This is capitalism. You have a product to sell. Right? And it's a high value product. And he said he needed an AC cargo area. It gets 130 in these fucking torture chambers. Right? They got the time and money to put a security camera in each one. That takes money. It costs a lot of money to be broadcasting data, right? GPS tracking, I'm sure. Can't put an AC in there. These people are fucking monsters. So take as much as you fucking can from them.
CBS News senior national correspondent Mark Strassman joins us
free
now.
Market, free market. Yeah, that's called the free market. That's exactly how this works. These ruthless sharks take as much as they possibly can because that's the game. Why should the laborer be any different? And homeboy, come on, man. Homeboy.
Thanks so much for joining us. First off, I want to get a sense of why the talks have broken down between the UPS and the Teamsters.
Well, let me give you a sense, Michael, first of the playing field here. If you're a UPS employee and you touch a package, you're a Teamster. As you mentioned, 340,000 folks here in the U.S. That's obviously a significant chunk of people, and it's by far the biggest block of employees that are also happen to be in the Teamster. So there's a lot at stake for both sides here. They've been negotiating for months, and I should also tell you that like being a UPS driver is a good gig. I mean, $95,000 a year plus free health care.
It just happens when you get older. This shit just happens, okay? Leave me alone.
But UPS is also a very profitable corporation. Teamsters want more for their employees, part of those profits. And now each side is accusing the other of walking away from the table. And that, of course, is an issue. The deadline is July 31st. And because UPS essentially delivers roughly 19 million packages, 5.5 days of the week, there is going to be potentially a significant disruption to how we all do business, whether you get an Amazon package or whether you're in the supply chain somehow. And that, of course, is what all of us are keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I wanted to dig into that. I mean, what kind of impacts could that potentially have on the nation's supply chain?
Okay, so Elaine, you're at home and you order a package, and from Amazon, say, and you want that package to come in. So all of us who do that could feel it. Number one. Then in the supply chain,
what? How does this work?
Like, let's just take auto parts, right? if a car dealership can't get the parts that it needs to do the repairs on my car or your car, that's going to be disruptive. And when you think about the capacity of this market, I mean, 19 million packages a day. It's not like it's automatically.
Oh, that's a day.
It's automatically could be filled by, say, DHL or FedEx. It's not that simple.
No,
there's bound to be disruption.
No, these packages are just sitting there at that point. They're not going to be transferred anywhere else. They're just going to be stuck in the queue. It's just stops moving.
And so there really is a lot on the line here. It's not as though, as I say, just because.
Yeah, that's an incredible amount of leverage for these laborers. Let's go ahead and cash in on that and do it ruthlessly. Stop fucking listening to the gaslighters. Oh, right? These multi-billionaires. What? Fucking rake them over the coals. Fuck these people.
UPS is out of the picture. I'll just take my business someplace else. There's a big question mark about whether someplace else
the job creators
to handle all 19 million packages a day.
Boo-hoo.
Well, Mark, you make a good point, because there are so many businesses out there that rely on the mail to send products, buy products. So if we do get to that
from
point,
UPS.
nobody can tell how this is going to play out. But if we do get to the point where there's a
I see
strike,
what you're saying now.
what does that mean for the overall economy? Could this have a big impact on the U.S. economy as a whole?
Yeah, exactly, Chem Goblin. No, exactly. No, it's a lot of leverage. Use it. And stop feeling bad. I don't know who's still feeling bad about this. These people are fucking, I'm the next Wolf of Wall Street. Oh, no, I'm the next Wolf of Wall Street. I'm a bigger psychopath than you are. I'm totally sociopathic. I go to special, shows and watch people die. No, I don't know. Just, you ever seen The Purge? They get, okay, anyway.
Whole. Well, look, what have we been talking about for the last, year or two? We're talking about supply chain issues and inflation, right? And just as this economy seems to be doing better, along comes a potentially disruptive influence like a.
I gotta say, the framing is very pro-manager. The framing is very pro-boss. Right? Oh, no, what are we going to do about our packages? Oh, the timing is really bad. Just when we're just getting back. Oh, no. It really does kind of frame the, they put up their grievances on TV here, but it sounds like a lot of excuses for the managerial class.
UPS strike. I mean, none of this is healthy for the economy, obviously, just because UPS is such a big player.
Gee, I guess UPS going to have to cough it up and quick, huh?
And so it really is in everybody's interest if these two sides can get back to the table, hammer this out, avoid the work stoppage. Of course, the big question is, can they do that?
I feel like that constant flow of traffic of people in and out with packages behind you, Mark, just underscores, that number, 19 million. Imagine. It's just hard to imagine how that would be picked up.
No, I mean, that's the thing, Equaldari, is that they would be happening if strikes were illegal. It would be harder to do them. But eventually, I mean, it's literally the only tool at the end of the day. It's the only leverage a laborer actually has. The law doesn't have your back, right? Because the law is controlled by the managerial class. So even if striking were illegal, strikes would absolutely still happen. We see it happen with government workers who are like, it's in their contract, you're not allowed to strike, and they do it anyway, right? And what happens? They get what they fucking want because it's essential. So stop treating them like pieces of shit. And why are they getting treated like pieces of shit? Like, because the argument's like, oh, we just don't have the money, we just don't have the resources, right? Oh, we just can't do it. Oh, you know, wage increase spiral will increase inflation, right? They're all listening to, you know, Kevin O'Leary. Right? So they don't have the money, except they absolutely have the fucking money. And dumping it into the pockets of Kevin O'Leary's across the world is increasing inflation. They're not spending that money. It's going into their pocket and into some offshore account so they can brag to their friend that they have a higher number. They're sociopaths. They're not. It's bad for inflation to keep overpaying these executives and letting them walk away with bazillions of dollars, because they don't spend it. Right? You give money to the middle and lower classes, man, that shit comes out of the wallet so fast.
Well, Mark Strassman, thanks so much for joining us.
And Woke Patriot is correct.
People going in and out. You bet, guys.
Sure.
Yeah. Hit the gym. I got to hit the gym too, but I'm not on national TV. Hit the fucking gym there, Mr. Paunch. I know. Same here. I got one too. And Woke Patriot is 100% correct. People, honestly, there are a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't care. I don't really care. I blah, blah, blah. You know, and some people do have a legitimate, like, hey, I ordered medicine, right? Hey, I got my dog medicine, my own medicine, right? I got some medical thing, right? And I depend on that, right? So it's not totally unfounded, but there are a lot of people that are just like, well, this is inexcusable. They should go back to work. I don't give a shit. There are a lot of people that are like that, right? But there will always be people like that. You know, like literally, like your society could be collapsing, and there'll still be selfish, egotistical, narcissistic motherfuckers that don't think about anybody but themselves until it affects them directly. And then even then, right? It's like, oh, well, it's affecting me, and these, you know, they should get back to work. Now, you're not going to blame the bosses at all. Well, job creators, I don't know, Reaganites. I don't know. So I thought this interview was amazing, and we will be doing a deeper coverage of LGBTQ issues later in the week when I do. I have a whole TYT section right here. We're going to do a whole TYT section, but this is just a little preview of that, what we're going to see in the TYT section, because, I mean, it is really unfortunate. And I'm sure Woke Patriot here would agree because he's observed this as well. But it is really, really unfortunate to see the politicization of LGBTQIA identities, right? How about doing a reading stream? I'm thinking about it. I have a lot of books that I want to read myself, so I'm thinking about that, Equaldari. We'll see. They knew what job it was before they took it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Woke Patriot. You just like all the bullshit that people say. But no, what I was getting at here. Why would you do that to me, Equaldari? Yeah, I think that would be good. And I'm just fucking, I could barely stand it, right? I'm shitting on it the entire way. I get a stroke in 3 minutes. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I should. I think that's a great idea, actually. Yep. I think if I do read a book, the first book I'm going to have to read is The Fountainhead. We're going to have to do that one. Okay, but back to what I was saying. It's really tragic to see how effective the weaponization of LGBTQ people has been. And we're seeing these attitudes leak into left-wing discourse now, and especially, you know, at TYT. And I think the reason why I want to do a special TYT section on this, because I do think there's more nuance here than a lot of the LGBTQ activists are pointing out with TYT. And I do think that there is some bigotry from TYT that is being ignored or papered over. Personally, if you want to know my views, I think all the points that LGBTQ activists make are accurate, except for the sports thing. I honestly think that we're going to need to figure out what we're doing with the sports thing, because I don't think it's tenable to just go, well, this person's a woman now, even if they have taken full-blown hormone treatment, right? And we see competitors, we see, male transition to female, female transition to male, compete, right? But honestly, I do think there needs to be some kind of, okay, if we're not going to do like a whole separate sports thing, which I think is very similar to the separate bathroom argument, doesn't work, right? So if we're going to do a whole separate sports thing, or if we can't do a whole separate sports thing, then we should figure out how specifically we are going to include trans people, LGBTQIA people, into sports, female or male sports. There needs to be some kind of agreement. Hormone level, years of hormone treatment, all these different like specifics about we have to get into the weeds on the sports thing. I think that's one of the few things where it's like, oh, stop fucking getting into the weeds. Just let people be, right? Just let people live, right? Who fucking cares? They're not trying to fuck your kids. They're just trying to exist. Okay. Just let them be. But when it comes to the sports things, I do think we got to get into the weeds a little bit. Ooh, watching the Atlas Shrugged video. Yeah, that is a good one. Damn, you guys have some good ideas. It's you have better ideas than my show. I should just stop doing my show and just do your ideas. But you know what I mean, though? Like, I think one of the few things where trans activists need to actually have like an open and honest conversation with themselves is the sports thing, right? The competition, the unfairness of the competition and all that. And like I said, I don't think a separate trans sports league is the solution. I think we do need to figure out a way to integrate trans people into their gender of choice, right? And how they can properly compete. Because it's the only thing that's like, okay, we're just going to we can't. There's science here. There's medical science that is potentially being ignored, right? And when trans people are defending themselves, they're pointing out that, hey, there's medical science to defend the existence of trans people, for children as well, and that's what we're going to see in an interview here with a trans child, right? They exist. Medical professionals have agreed that they exist. Gender dysmorphia can exist in children. All these things, it's all based in science. Well, the sports argument is a science-based argument as well. Okay, and I do think that some trans activists are not as willing to talk about it, and for obvious reasons. It's usually weaponized, and it's like usually a total full-blown dishonest argument. Oh yeah, why are you letting men compete against women, right? It's like, okay, we're misgendering, we're just we're not gonna have any kind of honest conversation here. We're just gonna use this as an opportunity to bash trans people, right? Yes, this is a leftist stream. But I wanted to show this little sample of this discussion we're going to be having about TYT and LGBTQ people. Hey, thank you so much, Surfer McGritty. Appreciate that. I don't kink shame. It's good for you, buddy. Buy a bidet. I'd recommend it. But this is a little sample of what we're going to get when we do that longer TYT discussion about Anna and all that right now. I don't want to do it right now, though. We'll do it later in the week. Everyone's talking about, you know what I mean? It's like everyone's talking about this. We got more important shit to talk about right now. I don't mean to say it like that, because LGBTQIA identity being fucking marginalized and shit on is a huge deal. Because we're seeing these wrong ideas, these bigoted ideas leak into leftist discourse. It's nasty. It's not good. Exactly. Trans rights are human rights. And some lefties are forgetting that.
Tell me why you're at Pride.
Because I'm transgender.
Do you want to share anything about your journey?
It was very tough.
Does your family make you feel supported?
Yes, a lot.
How old are you?
I am 7.
And how old were you when you discovered your identity?
I was 2 or 3 when I first noticed that I didn't feel comfortable with being a boy.
How did your child discover this identity? How did this come about?
So ever since she was little, she was always a princess, always. She sort of like every once in a while would mention ideas of like wanting to be a girl, of feeling more like a girl. And then she started asking to like socially transition about a year and a half ago, and her school's been fantastic.
Your family, your friends, everyone like makes you feel supported and loved.
Except for my friends. I didn't tell them that yet.
Oh, wait, do you want to be on the internet talking about it then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope to be famous one day.
What do you want to be famous for?
Probably my songs or
Oh, that's really sweet.
famous drawings.
It wasn't even really a change. Like she's been expressing herself as a girl since she was old enough to get dressed. I think that
Yeah, and that's a big thing that a lot of bigots really don't understand, right? Because they're looking at this and they're like, oh, groomers, this parent installed these ideas into this child's head, and this child is just repeating what the parent is saying. No. Like before the child, like if you've had a kid, you every single day you observe their behaviors. And you observe how their behaviors change and how they improve, and they get more hand and eye coordination. It's a beautiful thing, right? So this woman was saying, before as soon as this person started to be able to form thoughts and started to speak, it was very clear that there was some kind of imbalance, a chemical imbalance here, gender dysmorphia. It's a thing that it wasn't a choice, okay? This woman didn't say, I'm having a child and I'm going to program them into being a transgender kid, right? Because I want to be, Munchausen or whatever, not Munchausen, but I want to be famous. I want to be interesting. This is my way to be interesting, like those tiger people, right? Where they're incredibly mediocre people, so they glom onto some animal to make themselves feel bigger and more important. This is the lefty version of that, right? No. This woman is clearly saying, no, this child has exhibited these behaviors since, the moment this child was able to exhibit behaviors. And that's one thing that these bigots really don't understand. They really don't get, it's not a choice. It isn't. It's as natural as breathing for these people.
really a change. Like she's been expressing herself as a girl since she was old enough to get dressed. I think that being the parent of a trans child is totally different than what people think that it is. And I know you hear a lot about how we're going to have our kids go into surgery and how we're forcing them to make these decisions. The opposite is true. I'm up all the time worrying about how the world is going to react to my kid. I would rather have her change her pronouns 1,000 times than have to write her obituary. I wish that people who have already decided that they hate us and that we're child abusers would actually talk to us. I feel like that would make such a big difference. But you're right, like the assumptions that people are making are the worst kinds of assumptions, and nobody wants to hear, what our truth is. What it's like to actually raise a transgender child is just so remarkably different.
No, this guy's great right here. He's really great. Guy on the left.
What do you say?
Oh, it was Munchausen by proxy. Okay. I always use terms wrong, so.
Okay, so what do you say to the people that accuse you of doing Munchausen by proxy?
So I think that the assumption for that is that, and I hope this is taken in the spirit what it's meant, is that means that we wanted to have a transgender child. And I love her no matter what, but I don't think any parent wants their child born into something in which they know that they're going to struggle. It goes against.
And this is such a good point, right? Because it's like, and it's not to shit on LGBTQ people, but right? Do you want to put your kid through this? Right? Do you want them to be, targeted by cynical assholes, and who knows what, right? I mean, the scariest thing that happens, to a trans person is that they meet somebody, right? They get a little frisky, and then all of a sudden the guy flips out. He knew he was dealing with a trans person. Then he gets all homophobic, gets all I'm straight. And then they assault the trans people. It happens like all the time. It's one of the bigger, reasons why trans people get attacked. And, why would you want to put your child through that? It's a great point.
The idea of parenting for me. We have all sorts of books. We have a whole library at our house about, kids and what their experience is and how they present themselves and what it means to be you. And so we didn't give her, we didn't push her in any direction, certainly. And we will never push her in any direction.
I don't know. Maybe take the fucking costume off, right? I don't know. I guess it's kind of funny. We're all having fun here, right? I guess, but I don't know. He's a jokester. He's a comedian. He makes a lot of fun. So I guess it's okay. It's a little awkward, though, I gotta say.
She decides in, 2, 3, 4, 10 years that this is not where she's at, that's okay with me.
So if your child wants to change their pronouns back and express their gender differently, you're like, hey, cool.
Yeah, no, it's not. Who she is not her gender, and it's not the words that she chooses to use. It has nothing to do with it.
But I think what's funny is that a lot of transphobic people make fun of gender expression. They don't believe in gender expression, yet they turn around and say, you have to raise your boys to be men. Like,
Yeah.
wait, so we have to teach our children to be men? We have to teach them to be women? So you're saying it's a construct? No, how dare you?
No, I absolutely agree with you. People want to assign all sorts of things to children, especially that they're not even capable of that kind of thought. And, that's super problematic as well. There's no part of my child I don't love, and I would never choose for them a life where I know that they're going to struggle and I know that I have to fear for them every day. But it's not, I would never choose that for her.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Can I give you a
Yeah,
hug?
absolutely.
She's so funny. She's like, I want to be interviewed. I was like, okay, sure.
We always joke that it's like her world and we're just living in it.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds like a pretty average, healthy child, right? And this child is very lucky to live in such a open and welcoming home that's understanding. Because one of the one big thing that happens to a lot of trans people is that their families kick them out, excommunicate them. They literally, like, don't talk to us anymore situation, like literally kick them out. And there's a lot of trans people that are just totally alone, no connections to family. They all hate them. So, Walter Masterson is the name of this content creator. Check him out. If you like comedy, if you like guys with the balls to walk up to right wingers and make complete fools of them, check this guy out, like and subscribe. Absolutely amazing content creator. Good stuff. Moving on. I'm not going to read the article here. I thought this was a funny little footnote that Marjorie Taylor Greene has been kicked off of the Freedom Caucus, which is just funny, dude. It's just fucking laugh, just laugh at this bitch. I can't say the B word. Sorry, I can't say the B word, but I just wanted to laugh. MTG off the House Freedom Caucus. So we have the Daily Beast. MTG was recently kicked out of the House Freedom Caucus after a string of disagreements with a conservative group, according to two GOP lawmakers familiar with the situation. Now, the reason she got kicked off is she called Lauren Boebert a little bitch to her face. Ah! Oh, literally. MTG called Lauren Boebert a little bitch. She is no longer with HFC, a Republican lawmaker told the Daily Beast, noting that disparaging fellow members is frowned upon. Oh, where's your ball sack, GOP? She's just telling it like it is. The one thing I agree with her on, that's the thing that gets her kicked off. Gotta say, these Republicans. That euphemism is a reference to Greene's recent fight with a prominent Freedom Caucus member, Rep. Lauren Boebert, which culminated last month with Greene calling Boebert a little bitch to her face on the House floor. You love to see it. Is this based? Is this what the kids call based? Based on some stupid shit. This was apparently the final straw for the Freedom Caucus members. So they're cool with the racism. They're cool with destroying democracy. They're cool with defending seditionists, politicians and protesters that literally march through the Capitol with a Confederate flag. They're cool with all that. But don't call us a little bitch. I just thought that was funny. Moving on. Oh man, I can't believe this video. No, come on. Let me see if I can find this video. Fucking Reddit, dude. The most censored website on the internet is Reddit. Let's see if we can find this video. Yeah, here we go. So speaking of LGBTQ identity and fighting against this ignorance, we got our Make America Great Again hat over here. By a Zoomer wearing it. That's really pathetic. But this is really a very powerful speech from a lesbian lawmaker to just the constant torrent of hate and ignorance that's flying her way. All these closeted, bigoted opinions that Republicans were too afraid to express just a few years ago, now bubbling up to the surface. They feel comfortable enough to do it. They watched Matt Walsh's "What is a Woman," and now they feel like they have the intellectual high ground.
The mayor does with
Okay.
I'm not waving.
But guess what? You don't get to tell me when I can stop speaking.
Well, I'm going to.
I'm an elected official. You can't do that.
Can I do that, Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Walker, if she's given the floor, I'm going to give her the 5 minutes just like everyone else,
Okay,
and I
5
will
minutes.
let you finish up your 5 minutes.
And you'll start the clock.
Clock is running as
Please,
soon as...
please
I don't
go
need
ahead.
5 minutes.
Please go ahead.
So, Mr. Walker, if you're not aware, and I think a lot of people in this room are not aware and have come here just because this is a gay issue, I am proudly the first openly elected lesbian in North Dakota. So that is why I'm not paying any heed to your crap. We the people, I'm the people. I live in Minot. I have a taxpayer. I am a person. I get to see myself represented on that flagpole just as much as the people who got the Juneteenth flag last month.
She's talking about the pride flag, being displayed, on government grounds, right? They display different flags, right?
As much as the POW MIAs will get later this month, every single person is entitled to see themselves represented. We are not some group of people who live in San Francisco or Seattle. We are here. We are your elected officials. We are your brothers. We are your sisters. And don't tell me you're not hatred and anger. That's all I feel. I've had to listen to it for days now, as is the mayor and many of my colleagues. It is unacceptable. This city is big enough for all of us. Yeah. Me having a flag flying doesn't take away anything from your rights and freedoms.
Yeah.
But you know what it does for me? It shows me I live in a city that appreciates and embraces me and the people of my community, and that I can live here and feel safe. That's what it does. I'm sorry it doesn't make you feel comfortable, but we're here, we're queer, and we're not going away.
Yo.
Thank you. Thank you for exposing yourself and your anger.
They're just the consummate bad actors, okay? The only way they can be defeated is with politics, okay? It does not matter. She just pleaded, I'm a human being, I'm a human being, I'm a human being, I'm a human being. Thanks for exposing yourself and your anger. Like this motherfucker isn't the angriest son of a bitch you've ever met in your life. Yeah, I assume. What a ridiculous thing to say. But anyway, thought I'd show that. Interesting stuff. Here we go. Okay, look, I don't have time for this. Look, if you want to troll the channel, let's go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that during the Ukraine section, please. Okay, thank you so much. See you during the Ukraine section. Bye-bye. Okay. Yeah, so I guess we do just a small fash update here. Nazis are trending on Twitter. It's the Mothers for Liberty. This new attempt to this new attempt to install authoritarian attitudes into the minds of Middle America. And one of the most dependable and classic delivery systems for that is think of the children. Oh, the kids, right? So this is actually related to the LGBTQ stuff, but they're using this, really, well choreographed, Matt Walsh, highly produced attack against LGBTQ people, and are using this as a launching pad to say that, hey, they're trying to come in after our kids. We got to stop them at the schools. We got to, and this is that branch of that. Yeah, good point there, Chem Goblin. Sorry, but anyway, just wanted to show that they exist. It's the same old shit, right? It's the same old shit, but we should be wary of it. There will be gaslighters that are using their talking points, right? What about the kids? What about the kids? What about the kids? So just wanted to point that out. I can't believe this is true. This has to be a quote taken out of context. Mike Pence mocked for saying, quote, I don't really buy into the rich need to pay their fair share. See, it's cut off here. That makes me think, okay, come on. I don't think Mike Pence isn't this fucking stupid, is he? I mean, poor Republicans are, they're okay with the corporations or people friend attitude, but there's no way that they appreciate, just outwardly, I don't believe this whole, what did he say? The rich need to pay their fair share. I don't believe in that. I mean, come on. Like, honestly, what is the argument that the rich people are legitimately better than regular folk and that they deserve, more breaks by the government? Is that the argument here? Okay, let's hear this. Former VP Mike Pence has been mocked for saying the quiet part out loud about taxing the rich during a campaign stop. Quote, I don't really buy into the rich need to pay their fair share, he told an audience of potential Republican primary voters. Mr. Pence appeared alongside Iowa Republican Representative Randy Fenstra at the Wells Visitor Center and Ice Cream Parlor in Le Mars, Iowa, on Wednesday when he was asked by an attendee about billionaires such as Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos avoiding taxes while ordinary people are stuck footing the bill. Quote, there's no question that the tax code today creates a lot of different carve-outs for people who can shelter funds. Okay. Isn't it great when they acknowledge reality? Keep dollars away, Mr. Pence said, according to the Kansas Reflector. Quote, I'm somebody that I don't really buy into the rich need to pay their fair share. When you look at the statistics of where we actually get our funding from the government, the top 10% of earners in this country pay about 90% of the money that goes into the federal treasury. I seriously doubt that is true. And even this seems like it's one of those things where it's like a very specific statistic that is very, very skewed and very, you know what I mean? Like if you look at it from this one specific angle, 90% of the money comes from the top 10% of the government. I highly doubt that, son. I'm not going to sit here and fucking, I don't have the time to dig this up. Maybe you do, but I don't. But I have a very good feeling that this is bullshittery. In 2021, ProPublica reported that the 25 richest Americans paid an income tax of 3.4% between 2014 and 2018. Mr. Pence is arguing that when it comes to net taxes, the wealthy pay more. A study by the center-right Tax Foundation think tank indicated in 2018 that the richest 1% paid more than 40% of total federal income taxes. So there you go. Obvious bullshit. Mr. Pence said any Republican president should make the tax cuts passed during the Trump presidency permanent, as they're set to expire in 2025. Let's not forget that Obama made sure that the Bush tax cuts were permanently put into law. Quote, I'm not one of those people. So what I'm trying to say is that, don't be surprised if Joe Biden makes Trump's tax cuts permanent when they're close to expiring. But it looks like this is going to happen in 2025, so maybe it'll be an election issue. Maybe. I could see Donald Trump I could see Joe Biden just fucking doing it anyway before the election, because fuck it, who cares? Maybe he'll think he'll get centrist or independent votes by, giving that away. That's a Democrat dumbass idea. Ooh, we'll give a bunch of tax cuts to the rich before the election. That'll get the independents and centrist right wingers to vote for us. No, it won't. Quote, I'm one of those people that buy into the Democrats' message about fair share because I guarantee you that Americans at the top of the income level carry the overwhelming burden for government costs in this country, Mr. Pence told attendees. Wow. So just straight up bullshit. Just a fucking lie. Great. Just moments ago, presidential hopeful Mike Pence said what's on every Republican's mind. I don't really buy into the rich need to pay their fair share. Republican in the White House means even more tax cuts for the rich. American Brigade 21st Century, a liberal political action committee, tweeted on Wednesday. Oh, so here we go. Here we have the actual quote. Joe Biden, the famous entitlement spending, reading the eulogy to the Sturgeon dude. You don't say, Jack. Hey, quit your malarkey. You better get behind Biden. It's like AOC just getting behind Biden without a struggle. That's why I supported AOC. Is just to, Immediately get behind Biden immediately. That's the fighter I wanted. So let's hear this. Let's hear this. I don't really buy into the whole tax the rich kind of shit. Come on. I mean, are these people millionaires? Right? I don't think this is a room full of millionaires, right? At least Mitt Romney was smart enough to you remember that secret recording of Mitt Romney? I can't even remember the quote, right? It was a famous thing that hounded him throughout the whole thing. It wasn't the corporations or people. It was something else. But it was at a dinner party with like, you know, $100,000 a plate dinner party. That's when you say that shit, Mike. He's so bad at this. Are we fucking serious? This fucking human fart, this fucking guy, he's not going to get close to the Republican nomination. I'm closer to the fucking Republican nomination than this fucking guy. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This mannequin come to life? Why are we, who's entertaining this, dude? Get off the fucking stage. Anyway, let's hear this fucking quote from this idiot.
I'm somebody that I don't really buy.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Panda Man.
The rich need to pay their fair share. I mean, when you
okay, I can't even fucking hear what he's saying. He's not even mic'd up properly.
I'm somebody that I don't really buy into the rich need to pay their fair share. I mean, when you look at the statistics of where we actually get funding for the government, the top 10% of earners in this country,
Yeah. So then he okay. So then yeah. So he's saying, oh, I don't really buy you know these corporations need to pay their fair share. I'm pulling some number out of my ass that 90% of the government's money comes from corporations or from the top 1%. Not even fucking true. According to this, it's 40%, around 40%. And think about this. These are the richest people on planet Earth. Lenny over here really calls his fucking wife mother? Holy shit, dude. Yeah, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Mike Pence gets freaky with it. Mike Pence gets all kinds of freaky with it, dude. In the bedroom. And yeah, Panda Man, thank you for that. Yeah, the country were freeloaders, said Mitt Romney. Yeah, so that was the scandalous thing. Wow, Panda Man over here backing up the oligarchs, right? So Panda Man, you came in a little late, but you're actually fucking wrong again, as usual. Let me just repeat this for you one more time. Not that you care, because we're not changing your mind, right? But a study by the Center-Right Tax Foundation think tank indicated in 2018 that the richest 1% paid more than 40% of total federal income taxes. So, I mean, hey, maybe these guys are wrong. Maybe they're liberals. Maybe they're liberals. Go ahead and check the source yourself. But I don't know. Stop repeating right-wing talking points in my chat. You're a very tiring, exhausting human being sometimes. But God damn it, sometimes, you know, you're obviously plugged in, though. I don't get how someone who's following politics and is, you know, and is like, you know, fucking plugged in as much as you, still agreeing with right-wing fucking bullshit. How much denial of reality do you fucking need, man? You're taking it in every single day. Who are you fooling? Moving on. So, got some thoughts about Threads here. I agree with this, right? So what you know, we got libs of TikTok, one of the most toxic, horrific people on social media, you know, just overjoyed to you know, make LGBTQ people's lives hell. Horrible account, completely disingenuous, makes bad argument after bad argument, you know, basically lies. So what's the first thing that they do when they get on Threads here? Non-binary isn't real. It's absolutely real. It's not just some made-up Tumblr thing. Non-binary is a fucking thing. Bisexualism's a thing. Gender dysmorphia is a thing. So Threads over here, just like deleting the post, that you're not allowed to spread a falsehood. Here's the thing, though, about Threads. The people representing Threads dysphoria, thank you, not dysmorphia, dysphoria, thank you. But here's the thing about Threads. A representative from Threads recently came out and said, we're not going to do politics. We don't want a lot of politics on our platform. And that's okay. That's fine. That's your choice. That's your decision. It's your platform. But this is why I'm not going to be joining Threads. It's going to be Facebook, Twitter, Facebook, right? Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And if you've ever been on Instagram, you know, I guess it can be, you know, I don't know. I've only been there briefly, and I found it to be like it was like you ever read one of those magazines at a grocery store at the register, those tawdry stupid fucking magazines, right? Princess Di, you know, does a backflip into the grave or some shit like that, right? That's what scrolling Instagram felt like to me. It felt like I had opened up like some Cosmopolitan, right? And it was just advertisement after vapid bullshit. It just, I kept flipping through it. I was like, where's the substance? Where's something I'm interested in? Maybe I need to tweak my algorithm or something, right? Yeah, Woke Patriot, good point. But so I think the censorship, I agree with censoring. It's your platform. You want to censor what you want to censor. That's your prerogative. I do think the government should set standards on what a social media company is and how a social media company is allowed to moderate its own platform, because I do believe at a certain point these social media companies become town squares, they become public squares, they become public utilities, intentionally or otherwise. And I do think that too much power is given to oligarchs like Mark Zuckerberg, who can then control speech. They can control the zeitgeist. They're fucking steering the zeitgeist with their social media. So I do think there needs to be regulations on how they moderate, right? I'm not saying they can't moderate, but I do think that there needs to be transparency, regulations around transparency, and, you know, just codifying into law what a social media company is, right? Hey, if you got 10 million users or more, you're now, you know, under this new regulatory threshold. And, you know have to be somewhat transparent about your moderation, right? Yeah, Super McGritty. Exactly. No, that's also true. So just wanted to give you my thoughts on this. I'm fine with them, you know, moderating bad actors spreading incorrect information. But like I've said, they've made statements about how they're not interested in politics. That sounds a lot like Facebook. It sounds a lot like Instagram. I won't be going to Threads. I'm not interested in that. I'm looking more at Mastodon, maybe Blue Sky. We'll see what's up with that, right? But Mastodon is obviously where it's happening. If you're into politics right now, it seems to be there's a pretty growing political community there. So anyway, yeah, Super McGritty, you'll learn very much that Panda Man is like literally a robotic fucking conservative script. He's like an AI that's been programmed by Rush Limbaugh. Anyway, moving on. Just wanted to show that off. Trump faces nightmare scenario as top Republicans cooperate with Jack Smith. So, you know, every other content creator is spending 300 years on Trump, but it's been a couple weeks since we've actually talked about Trump. So thought I would play this, right? Walls are closing in, guys. Oh, here we go. Trump's gonna be behind bars. They're gonna put him in chains. You better watch out. Where the fuck is it? Right? I'll believe it when I see it, dude. One of the most seditious, traitorous individuals who has literally gotten into the highest seat of power. And I'm telling you, he's not going to see a day in jail. He's not going to fucking see a day in jail. And you want to know why? It is the motherfucking neoliberals' fault. 100%. Don't you give me that fucking excuse that, oh, they did everything they could to make sure. No. One thing you need to learn about the neoliberals is that they actually don't fucking care about democracy. They don't fucking care about that. They don't care about your liberty. They're not defending your liberty. Who was number one in the surveillance apparatus getting legalized during the Obama era, right? Dianne Feinstein out here talking about how we got to, double down on the spying on people. Neoliberals don't care about your fucking liberty, and they have no respect for democracy. So when they see right-wingers dismantling democracy, all they can think about is from their party perspective. If you want me to time Panda Man out for 15 minutes, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. If I get 3 1s, I will time Panda Man out for his ignorance and bigotry.
Hesitant to talk about any subpoenas, etc., but I have been
ding, 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 ding. All right, Panda Man. We'll see you in 30 minutes, buddy.
Excuse me, in the effort to overturn the election results.
Correct. It was 4 hours of a discussion that they had with me. Very professional.
When was that interview?
It was couple of months ago, 3 months ago.
Yeah, so the walls are closing in, guys. The walls are closing in. Look, one thing I do appreciate about Panda Man is that he is representing the ignorant right-wing conservative opinion, and he does so proudly, and he's extremely well informed. He knows the talking points. He understands where he's right and wrong. He does not care. So I do find it valuable to have such an individual shamelessly repeating incorrect ignorance. Moving on. Ocasio-Cortez endorses Biden's re-election campaign, sending a strong signal to the Democratic unity. I got a lot of things to say, but you know what? Jordan Sheridan said a lot of them for me. So we're going to actually just listen to this Jordan Sheridan clip. I want to make clear before we start this Jordan Sheridan clip, he says he's not supporting Marianne Williamson, but he kind of is like defending Marianne Williamson as if AOC should be working with Marianne Williamson. Here's my opinion on the 3 alternatives to Biden right now, right? We have Marianne Williamson, we have RFK Jr., and we have Cornel West. Number 1, the person I would really like is Cornel West, who apparently has the worst political instincts, since what? Dennis Kucinich, since fill in the blank, man. Fill in the fucking blank. Cornel West over here shitting the bed out the gate, saddling his horse up to the Jimmy Dore party that has literally not had a single electoral victory in the United States, has no organization, has no campaign experience. So wow, okay. Fights happening in the chat. Wow, what is happening in the chat right now? Hold on. What is happening here? Never go through because we don't have a 2-tier system. That's fine. I don't really care. What law school did you graduate from? You're still held accountable for that speech by the government. I see, yeah. I see. Okay. I think I agree with Woke Patriot on this one. If you want to know where I stand, Surfer McGritty, on your little argument there. Not little argument. I didn't mean to diminish it. I'm sorry. I'm an asshole. Back to this. AOCIA, come on. Are you joking? Okay, back to what I was saying. The three alternatives. The one I would prefer is Cornel West. He has the worst political instincts of any politician I've seen in my lifetime. Coming up the gate with Jimmy Dore's shitty party that has no experience and no organization, and then instead of directly challenging Joe Biden, hopping on over to the Green Party where it's so irrelevant he's no longer even part of the discussion. He might as well have hopped on the Jeff Bezos rocket ship to the moon. Completely irrelevant. So goodbye, Cornel West. I love you. I fucking love you. I wish you didn't suck at this. Make me your campaign manager, man. You want to make some waves, boy? No, you don't. I mean, that kind of is the thing. Anyway, Hey, Sika Matri, whatever the fuck your name is, you want to play a game? You have one opportunity to say yes or no. Do you want to play a game? Would you like to play a game with me? Waiting for the answer. Lee over here. Yes, yes. No, come on. Okay, I'll give him one more chance. Yes or no? Whatever the fuck your name is. Sika, whatever the fuck. Yes or no? Would you like to play a game? One more opportunity to answer. Let's hear it. All right, boo. What a loser. What a pussy ass loser. What a loser. God. No balls. No balls whatsoever, dudes. Well, see you later. No balls. Leo play. Leo be your Huckleberry. Weak. All right. Lee, you're not a dumbass, man. I'm sorry, Leo. Can't do it, dude. You're not a dumbass. I would never disrespect you, Lee. Never. Okay. So Cornel West, no. Terrible political instincts. He made himself into a non-factor, right? So sorry. I love you, but sorry. RFK, are we fucking serious? Joe Rogan loves him. You know, the right wing, the new right wing darling, How I Left the Left, RFK Jr. Doesn't believe in single payer health care, right? This person is supposed to be a lefty. So obviously no with RFK. And Marianne Williamson, who I think I align with on a touchy-feely spiritual kind of sense when she talks about how, you know, my name is abandoned nihilism. And she is one of the few politicians that talks about nihilism. Maybe not directly. She doesn't say nihilism, but she talks about how there's no love, there's no understanding anymore, right? There is a lack of empathy that just exists in the American body politic, period, right? And I do think it is important to talk about that. You know, why do we have to rip each other's throats out, right? There's obvious answers to that question, right? It's an escalatory thing. But I do think having that conversation about, well, is there any way we could maybe reduce the rhetoric down a notch instead of increasing it, right? I think that's a very good conversation. In terms of her policies and, of course, some of her past statements, you know, woof, right? Some pretty dumb statements about vaccination, right? About, you know, she's made some really dumb statements about vaccination in the past. I don't think she has what is needed for the mainstream, but I don't know. Three failed attempts, which I don't want to shit on somebody for trying again and again and again because the system really sucks. But anyway, the point that I'm getting at is that, you know, look from AOC's perspective, right? Look out into the sea of candidates, of viable candidates. You got these three people, right? And then you have the establishment as well. I think honestly, with what AOC has to work with, I think and there was some speculation by Woke Patriot there in the Discord that this is her, you know, by not giving up any resistance to Biden, by getting behind Biden immediately, and we're likely going to see AOC campaign for Biden as quickly as possible, fundraise for Biden. By doing that immediately, instead of offering up resistance and trying to leverage her political power, which is what I and Jordan Sheridan would like to see. So instead of doing that, I guess the calculus is that, okay, I'm going to play ball. You're going to reward me. You're going to put me in a position of power where I have more influence within the DNC, and that's how I'm going to be rewarded by not giving you any resistance. Okay, that's great if AOC is an actual Trojan horse. If AOC is actually saying, okay, I'm going to play ball now, but once I get into a position of power, like on the level of Pelosi, I'm actually going to change something. Okay, is that what she's doing? Obviously, she couldn't tell us. I really don't like putting all my hope in this idea that AOC is Machiavelli and she's playing the game and she's doing all this, because I look at Elizabeth Warren, right? I look at Elizabeth Warren and I'm like, what the fuck did she get for stabbing Bernie in the back? You know, what did she get for playing the game and you know, and being Machiavelli? Right? They said, fuck you. You were progressive for 5 minutes one time. Nope. Right? And AOC, like, she's still considered a progressive darling. I don't know why. What's the last progressive thing she's done? Maybe criticize Israel. I'm being too harsh. AOC, on, you know, if you were to policy by policy, statement by statement, line her up with your average neoliberal, she would be to the left of them, right? She would be to the left of your average neoliberal in her statements, even now, just to be totally fair. I don't know. I just, you know, does anyone remember when she was voted in, right? The promises, the idea, like, oh, we finally got a bartender, right? We got one of us in there. She's not there to make friends. She's there to mix it up. And then she's like, you know, making a big part of her, like, political career to be friends with Nancy Pelosi, you know, right? And people get weeded out. I mean, Zio Duke, I don't want to agree with you. I don't want to agree with you. But my gut is agreeing with you. My heart is going la 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 la. You know what I mean? My heart is like this. My brain is just like fucking face palming it. And my gut agrees with Zio Duke. But somewhere in this mixture of feelings is a little bit of hope that maybe she's a progressive Trojan horse. We need to have political courage, $27. So this is already a long clip and I've already bloviated long enough, but I wanted to set it up because I wanted to make sure that you knew I don't fully agree with what Jordan Sheridan is saying here, and I'll point that out, but I'll try not to interrupt him as much because I agree with about 90% of what Jordan is saying here. But I do think, you know, I think Woke Patriot, if you could give us your 2 cents, if you're still here, if you could give us your 2 cents on this, that would actually be really great, because I do think there could potentially be, maybe we shouldn't be sell out to AOC, right? Maybe there is something we don't quite understand here, right?
Hey, it's Jordan with Status Quo. You know, over the years, I've tried to keep it constructive
cents.
when it comes to AOC and the squad.
You're awesome, Kim Goblin.
Criticize them when they clearly deserve it. Credit them if they've done something good. But this latest pathetic display, really.
I mean, Surfer McGritty, I don't know if you're talking about a comment section of YouTube, you know, I don't think it's fair to judge anybody on the comment section of their YouTube channel, Twitch channel mods. Okay, they're Nazis. Jordan Sheridan is not a fucking Nazi. And he doesn't agree with right-wing views. He's actually, you know, pretty on point. I disagree with him here and there on some COVID stuff and some other stuff. But when it comes to pound for pound, on the ground, journalism and holding politicians to account, you're not going to find better than Status Quo and Jordan Sheridan. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but I got a lot of respect for this guy. Okay. The left really needs to stop eating itself. Is no one good enough? Is no one fucking good enough? You know, this is why a lot of left commentators, you know, this is why a lot of left commentators run away from like critical analysis of things and just go, oh, look at the right wing. Look at the right wing. Look how silly the right wing is, right? Because their own fucking side is constantly trying to eat them alive. Oh, Jordan Sheridan, Nazis. Are you fucking joking? Jordan Sheridan's not a fucking Nazi. He doesn't represent the right wing one bit. Pull your head out of your ass. What the fuck? Moving on.
Deserves the gloves off. Before we show you that,
I agree,
trip down memory lane of what we were told by AOC of how she was going to legislate and, more importantly, agitate.
Start bringing the ruckus on the Democratic Party. That is our job.
Start bringing the ruckus to the Democratic Party. That is our job. That's
what we were
she had
promised.
an army of volunteers out for her in 2018.
That's what we were promised.
That is why people knocked on doors, donated money they didn't have, et cetera, et cetera. They liked what they saw in the beginning. Remember her protesting outside Nancy Pelosi's office with Sunrise Movement activists. Let's show you the evolution. What is that? 5 years later, this is now bringing the ruckus to the Democratic Party. I give you AOC as a guest on Pod Save America, the Obama Bro neoliberal hack podcast.
So president's only primary.
Pod Save America is fucking the worst, dude. If you wanted to tie me to a chair and like, you know, get me to fucking jump out of a window while tied to the chair, throw on Pod Save America and close the door and make sure I can't leave. I will Roblox all over the fucking walls, dude. I cannot stand this fucking podcast. It's a place where neoliberals feel safe, Chem Goblin. Okay? Where Obama is a civil rights hero.
The Obama Bro neoliberal hack podcast.
So president's only primary opponents are Marianne Williamson, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, from a right-wing perspective, yeah, I mean, right-wingers consider anything left to be progressive. Panda Man, I don't know. You seem to be learning a lot about the left. But no, progressives don't consider Pod Save America to be anywhere close to progressive. These people are neoliberal hacks, just like Jordan Sheridan said.
Podcast.
So president's only primary opponents are Marianne Williamson, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Haven't been any rumors about anyone else even thinking about jumping in. Will you be supporting Joe?
Cornel West? I mean, what the fuck? You're not even going to mention Cornel West, huh? That's such a neoliberal thing to just like the Green Party. I've literally never even heard of that. That's such a neoliberal thing. Fuck these guys.
Been any rumors about anyone else even thinking about jumping in? Will you be supporting Joe Biden for re-election?
I believe, given that field, yes. I think he's done quite well, given the limitations that we have. I do think that there are ebbs and flows, as there are in any presidency. You know, there are areas that I think were quite strong when he came right out of the gate with the American Rescue Plan. And of course, the Inflation Reduction Act was a massive step in terms of our climate agenda. But, you know,
that's being way overly generous. That's being super fucking generous.
There are also areas that I think could have gone better. We have major structural issues in this country, and I think it starts with the United States Senate. And I think that until we have senators that are willing to stand up and stare the filibuster in the eye and stare.
Is this her? Is she playing? Is she playing for a Senate seat? Is she going to run for the Senate? Is that what's going on?
Yeah,
I agree. 27
issues about the Senate, and the United States Senate will be what holds back this country from an enormous
maybe Lenny. You know,
progress.
Lenny brings up a good point, because RFK does have the ear of the independents. These fucking weirdos that are obviously right wing, but you know, maybe a few social issues. But yeah, RFK could actually get a bunch of the libertarians and Joe Rogan, you know, the Joe Rogan fans that think they're intellectuals. He could get enough of those people to actually maybe get Joe Biden to, you know, to have to maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe go on Joe Rogan podcast. That'd be so funny. RFK gets just enough high enough in the polls that Biden has to go on Joe Rogan to, you know, to calm down the momentum of RFK. That would actually be really fucking fun.
I don't know where to start. First of all,
he makes a lot of good points here, so I'm gonna try not to interrupt him.
When you are similar to Bernie Sanders endorsing Joe Biden, which, given her massive following, particularly among young people, that Biden has been hemorrhaging support among young people, who held their nose and voted for Biden in 2020. Who held their nose and voted in 2022 midterms, not for Biden, primarily based on the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade and deserved or not, you have a very popular figure among young people, particularly young people not like diehards into politics, just know AOC, kind of like her based on the celebrity appeal, what have you. And you get nothing for that endorsement, not an executive action, not even a hollow pledge to take action on something. It's political malpractice. Unless I'm missing something, she got diddly squat for that endorsement, and she'll be on the road campaigning for Biden because clearly he doesn't want to be on the road campaigning for himself, or can't be on the road campaigning for himself.
Can he be on the road?
Let's go through a couple points she made here.
Big props. I just got a little glimpse of the viewer list. Just want to say big props to all you lurkers out there. All you, no one's, you're not in the chat, but you're watching. It is greatly appreciated. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Don't be shy to pop in this chat and let us know how you think. Thank you so much.
Here, she referenced Given the Field, referencing Marianne Williamson and RFK Jr. Now, devil's advocate could say, well, Jordan, right now, Marianne Williamson is polling anywhere between, 5 to 8%, RFK Jr., 15 to 20%, Given the Field. Well, AOC, all I see all the time in her tweets is how democracy is at risk.
Thank you, Ken.
There's threats to democracy. We have to fight the fascists. But she's just given the field, declaring, I'm going to support Biden. Well, there is no field because your party has declared we're not going to hold a primary.
Yeah, and he's not wrong, but also with competition, like, with Cornel West, with the worst political instincts I've ever seen in my life. Marianne Williamson, who, hurts in the right place, but man, there's a lot of angles of attack there. And then RFK in the fucking loony bin, right? I kind of don't blame her. There's no Bernie. There's no Bernie out there. You know what I mean? It's ironically, if there was anybody that was actually going to be a real challenge to Biden, it would be AOC. Honestly. Who else has that Bernie factor, right?
You care about democracy. You're worried about the threat of fascism, but you're going to say nothing about the fact that there isn't actually a competitive primary, which is kind of democracy. Ted Kennedy challenged Jimmy Carter, right? Pat Buchanan challenged President George H.W. Bush.
Yeah. But I don't care, though. I mean, I agree ultimately with the spirit of this. I don't think it's correct that Joe Biden says no debates. Let Marianne Williamson up there. Let RFK Jr. up there. Let Cornel West up there. What are you worried about, right? What they're worried about is that they might make a good point. And Joe Biden tripping over himself and, maybe he has a senior moment up there, right? And he forgets something or trips and falls down, right? It's the strategy that they followed during his presidential election, which was less Joe Biden, right? The less Joe Biden, the better. He's running for president, but you don't get to see, he's not going to, once a month, we'll see him come out of his fucking gopher hole, right? It's kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same strategy. The more the mainstream sees Joe Biden, the less they want to vote for him. Hillary Clinton had a similar strategy.
But you are crickets on the fact that the Democratic Party has just declared primary over, no contest, have literally rigged the schedule of the primary to put South Carolina first for President Biden, which obviously saved his campaign last time. South Carolina, heavily black voters, specifically an older population that really supported President Obama. By extension, was supporting Joe Biden because he was Obama's vice president. James Clyburn came in at the last minute. You got nothing to say about that. Kind of makes me question your consistent concern about democracy when you're just going to endorse the president in a completely rigged primary, whether or not you support RFK Jr. or Marianne Williamson. But when she says given the field, listen, I have not made it a secret, my thoughts on RFK Jr. I'm not, pom-poms for Marianne Williamson. Personally, if I had to vote in the Democratic primary, I would personally vote for Marianne Williamson. You could do whatever you want. I think there's potential others will jump in. It's still relatively early. But given the field, well, if you are a champion of the climate crisis, by the way, this week we have had 3 record global temperature days for heat: Monday, Tuesday, and yesterday. 3 of the hottest days on record in 125 years, or since they've been keeping records. She's the champion of the Green New Deal, yet she's endorsing the guy who broke his promise and has been doubling Trump's drilling on public lands. Biden ran on, I'm going to stop the drilling on public lands. Went reversed on that. Biden ran on environmental justice. Flint still doesn't have clean water. You see what's going on in East Palestine? He hasn't even visited East Palestine.
Yeah, and that's such a good point. This is why Jordan Sheridan is so amazing. You can't make a trip to Palestine. You can't just a quick photo op. Can't even do that. I mean, that's really pathetic.
The list goes on. The Inflation Reduction Act that you said Biden has had, in her words, areas that are quite strong. She referenced the CARES Act and the Inflation Reduction Act.
Panda Man, congratulations. That is actually the stupidest fucking thing you've said so far. Wow, that is actually, I mean, top 3 stupidest fucking things that's come out of your mouth there. Really. You just have no concept of climate whatsoever, huh? All right. Okay. Dumbass.
I don't know. You say we need trillions of dollars. She referenced $10 trillion when she was still kind of agitating that we needed for a Green New Deal. Biden in Inflation Reduction Act gave tax incentives or tax
that'd be nice, huh?
for corporations that upgrade or increase their investment in renewable and green energy. If you talk to actual climate champions, if you talk to actual climate warriors, that would have been nice 15 years ago. That's not anywhere near what we need to stave off the climate inferno that we are all experiencing now.
Exactly, Lenny.
She talks about, there are ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows.
Yeah, it's really sad to see.
No, don't give me, we've had the limitations, and he did everything within his power, given the limitations of the 50-50 Democratic Senate, and now Republicans in control.
No, and look, if you guys are like tuning out, it's hard to understand because I'm like, pausing and everything. But look, he's going to get into the terrible excuses that Joe Biden has made as to why he hasn't been able to accomplish his own agenda. And they were pathetic then, and they're just as pathetic now.
Control of the House. He did not do everything he could. You know that, AOC. He would not go on offense. He would not use the bully pulpit of the presidency to shame Joe Manchin, to shame Kyrsten Sinema, to actually champion removing the filibuster, which she is right, is a big impediment. But Biden doesn't actually want to remove the filibuster because he's a creature of the swamp, which is the Senate.
That's right.
Biden did not actually want to increase the minimum wage to a $15 minimum wage. He ran on it, so he sounded kind of sort of progressive.
Yeah.
Remember that hostage video when Bernie and Biden were on together after Bernie endorsed Biden? And Bernie said, hey, Joe, are you going to increase the minimum wage to $15?
I
and
remember
Biden
this.
Said, yeah, I will. First thing he did, as president, was moonwalk away from that with the bullshit excuse of, the parliamentarian says we can't put it in the COVID Relief Act. Of course you could have put it in the COVID Relief Act, which was the best chance since that was being passed by reconciliation, which needed no Republican support. And if Joe Manchin or Kyrsten Sinema were...
Yeah, and Obama did something very similar with single-payer health care. Right? He was, we're, single payer during the campaign. Right? It gets into office with a supermajority. First thing he does is takes the single-payer idea off the table. Look, type in Obama single-payer healthcare off the table, and you'll see like they set up a committee or a commission or something. The first thing that the Obama appointed commissioner did, whoever was in charge of the whole thing, this fact-finding mission about trying to find the best way to do this, immediately, first thing he said, we're not even going to have a debate about single payer. That is off the table. The only things we are going to be talking about are, corporate, paid solutions. We're not even going to have a discussion about socialized healthcare. That just shows you where the Democrats are at.
Going to vote against it based on that. Then you use the bully pulpit of the presidency. You shame them. You hold speeches and press conferences in West Virginia and Arizona until you buckle them by the knees. And if they won't do it, then at least you tried.
Yeah.
More simply put, you bring the ruckus.
Yeah. So this is called leveraging your political power. And a lot of people, you know, even some people that might be defending AOC here have kind of internalized this idea that we can't do this, that it's bad politics to be leveraging our whatever political power we have as progressives. I don't know if I agree with it. Like I said, hey, if Pelosi really is going to be a Trojan horse, okay, great. We're going to need a lot more time to actually see this come to fruition then. And that's not exactly what we voted for either. We didn't really vote for, hey, I'm going to pretend to be a progressive firebrand, then I'm going to bend the knee until I get into a position of power, and then maybe I'll be progressive again. I didn't really, that's not really what I was supporting with AOC. Some Machiavelli cosplayer, right?
AOC apparently doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, Zio, dude, good point.
Marianne Williamson, whether you
great point,
support her or not, based on what AOC claims are her top priorities, Marianne Williamson should be her candidate. She would go a lot more aggressively.
And this is what I mean. Yeah, maybe you're technically correct, but look at the fucking look at the room. Look at the room. It would be really kind of stupid, honestly, for AOC to support Marianne Williams. I'm sorry. I like her. I think she's a nice person. I think she's a great woman. But politically, as a political move, I don't think that would be the right move for AOC. Sensible sense. She is nothing like MGT. And if you're making that comparison, that tells me everything about who you are as a bad actor, right? Anybody that looks at AOC and compares AOC's actions to what MGT is doing, that's just a bad actor. That's just you being disingenuous.
When it comes to the climate crisis, when it comes to record temperatures, extreme storms. I mean, this is just from her website.
Marjorie
and again,
Taylor Greene. Yeah, sorry.
I'm not like standing for Marianne Williamson, but on what AOC.
No, sensible. You're a bad actor for making an inaccurate, hyperbolic, and stupid comparison between a right-wing extremist and a left-wing, ex-progressive, maybe neoliberal sellout. They're apples and oranges. You're making a totally dishonest comparison, and you know you're doing that. And right now you're succeeding because you're derailing the stream. You know what you're doing. What, you think you're fucking clever? You think you're fucking smart? Come on.
Claims is her top priorities, the climate inferno. Marianne Williamson goes a lot further than Joe Biden. Here's just a few. Expand investments to reach 100% renewable energy and dramatically reduce CO2 emissions by 2035, reinstate and expand energy and mileage efficiency investments, transition away from fossil fuel energy, and halt all new fossil.
I wish I could have voted for AOC, and even with all my criticisms, I wish I would vote for her again. She's nothing like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, nothing.
Fossil fuel projects. Halt all new fossil fuel projects. Who do you think actually would even come close to that? Joe Biden, who's continuing on with Obama and Trump with fracking the hell out of the country, or Marianne Williamson? And again, she's not my,
Wow, what a deep political analysis, Sensible. You got any more nuggets? Hey, Sensible, would you like to play a game? You have one opportunity, yes or no, to answer yes or no. Yes or no. Do you want to play the game, Sensible?
Top choice. Politically, I would support Cornel West on policy and temperament and aggression.
Well, cowards aren't allowed to stay here. So, bye-bye. Bye-bye. We'll give you a 30-minute. Bye-bye.
More than Marianne Williamson, who I think is a nice woman. Obviously, her campaign has had issues. She is now, I think, on her third campaign manager in just a few months. So, we don't need to put lipstick on the pig here. She's having some problems. She's not polling that high.
Talking about Marianne Williamson here.
But again, she's not really getting any media exposure. There will be no debates, according to the DNC. So how can Marianne Williamson or RFK Jr., for that matter, break through in a non-democratic process, which AOC
That's a good point.
seems to be rubber stamping?
No, I agree with that. Yeah,
at the end of the day, I'm not like others who just throw the baby out with the bathwater. I try not to just go for clicks to call people sellouts, but this is selling out. You ran on aggressive activism against the Democratic Party. And what we're getting now is hemming and hawing. Well, you know, there's ebbs and flows in the presidency, and I think he's done quite well, given the limitations. Quite well on what? Abandoning a $15 minimum wage, which at this point is the conservative position. Quite well on what? Abandoning a public option, which wasn't my option, wasn't your option, but better than the, you know, survival of the fittest social Darwinism we have now, which is private health insurance. He's behind the scenes trying to privatize Medicare, which I've interviewed healthcare experts.
Talking about Biden here.
Why is his name escaping me? Michael Lighty from the Sanders Institute, abandoned his promise on stopping drilling on public lands, approved the Willow Project. These are not ebbs and flows. This is diametrically opposed to what you claim to stand for. Well, maybe there is a method to the madness. Maybe there is a method to the madness. This is from Puck News, who wrote about the remaking of AOC.
So this
a couple months ago.
This kind of shit really bothers me, right? This makes me think AOC is just, she's now a careerist. This isn't some Trojan horse, progressive Trojan horse who's going to get in there and really mix things up. That she's, you know, she's got a little taste of it. She got to go to some big celebrity thing, you know, she's, you know, kind of a big deal now. And she doesn't want to lose this opportunity to be the new face of the Democratic Party. Does that mean she wants to actually change it, though? Right? It makes me, shit like this makes me feel like, no, that this is just a career move.
In subtle ways, AOC's posture seems to have shifted as of late, signaling that she is perhaps a bit more curious about pursuing the inside game. Sure, she tried to shoot for the king and missed when she endorsed challenger Alessandro Biaggi against establishment favorite and DCCC chair Sean Patrick Maloney. But she also only endorsed 3 House challengers in the last election. They all lost.
Well,
and
Patriot's
sure,
correct.
She voted against the bipartisan infrastructure deal, but she kept her head down during the Build Back Better negotiations, letting Pramila Jayapal take.
By the way, Pramila Jayapal during these negotiations was very consistent in saying progressives need to stop leveraging their power, and they need to let the infrastructure bill go through, because we're going to do Build Back Better later. And where are we at? Where are we at with that? Everyone said if you don't pass Build Back Better along with the infrastructure bill, it's not going to happen. Pramila Jayapal said no, it'll happen. We got to do the infrastructure bill. We got to bend on our beliefs and principles. And you know, they made a deal with us, and we're going to let them renege on that deal, and that's okay. Remember that. She's supposed to be a progressive. She's supposed to be on our side, right? And AOC agrees with Pramila Jayapal. It's very, very troubling.
Take the lead and ultimately voted for the Inflation Reduction Act. During her 15 opportunities amid the speaker vote chaos to suggest a leader for the party other than Hakeem Jeffries, with whom she clashed in the past, she kept her powder dry and voted for him every time. Even her vice ranking role on the Oversight Committee suggests that after years of inhabiting the Pelosi penalty box, Jeffries may be dispensing with bygones. She's become a better soldier. Yeah, you got that right. Another member of Congress said, I don't think she's being marginalized, but I don't think anyone is going out of their way to empower her either. So much bad blood was built early on. Optically, AOC and Jeffries, who hail from neighboring districts, look like a powerhouse representation of the next generation of the Democratic Party. But their paths to power have been very different. Jeffries has played the inside game, focusing on building relationships and passing legislation. By the time he was in his 3rd term, he had passed 3 pieces of legislation that he wrote and introduced. He's shown deference and respect to Pelosi, which likely helped to clear the field for him. Jeffries, for his part, has certainly never stood in Ocasio-Cortez's way. He created a super PAC to support corporate ghouls like Henry Cuellar that AOC was supposedly trying to oust. He cleared the way for her to get onto the Financial Services Committee in her 2nd term, despite her relative lack of qualifications. Cognizant of her power and not eager to stoke the flames, Hakeem has not been vindictive either, but some wonder if he's done enough to leverage her value.
So this is what the people are saying when they say Machiavelli. Hey, look, it's working. She's playing the game. She's getting, closer to the, the seats of real power. It's working. It's working. It's working. She's gonna, eventually she'll reveal that she's a progressive. I don't know, man. Seems like a long shot to me. That they criticize. Have fun with the trolls. Hey, Woke Patriot, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Have a good one, Woke Patriot.
I think the entire leadership of the Democratic
and thank you for that follow, Luli Fox.
Party is stupid for not using her power. And AOC Alley told me the Republicans elevate their young and use their energy. There was a weird hostility, and I think some of it is jealousy. That's
all right. So there you go. I've made my point. There's a little bit left of this video, but yeah, like I said, he makes some great points. Make sure you check out Status Coup, Jordan Sheridan Status Coup, actual real journalism. Real activism. This is how I wish all the lefty comment. Yeah, Ali, it happens to the best of us. I wish more lefty content creators, the Majority Report, the Humanist Report, all the serfs, all these. I wish they would emulate more Status Coup than TYT. I would really prefer, because Jordan Sheridan treats his work as activism. He's out here trying to create change for progressive values. He's not shy about that. He's doing great journalistic work. So David Pakman, I have a lot of respect for, but like I said, I just like to see them more attempting, to organize and whatnot. So make sure you like and subscribe. Check it out. Yeah, okay, so this is just an article following up on what we heard. We got all the details there. Moving on from the AOC stuff, wanted to talk about this. So they've innovated on creating new barriers in the water, the Rio Grande River. So Texas is deploying floating barrier in Rio Grande River to deter migrant crossings at U.S.-Mexico border. And what I wanted to point out is that this is not going to, the idea is that, oh, you've made it impossible to cross, so no one's going to try. That's not true. You've made it more difficult to cross. You've made it more likely that people crossing are going to die. That's what you've done. What the hell is this? Where CNN over here? What are we looking at? You can't. Yeah, he's a good. Wow. Jesus. Fashion, huh? Fashion. Man, instead of a feather, they should have put a sandwich. Sandwich would have made more sense. Get this person some food. Anyway, back to this. Well, let's make it easier and let a nuclear bomb fall on all countries. What the hell is wrong with you? My blood pressure is peaking. Nice feather. Yeah, so they made it more dangerous. The lawsuit alleges the buoys will prevent Eppies and Fuentes', the company owners, operators, from conducting tours. And oh, wow. So there's actually a lawsuit against this because people who do tours on the Rio Grande are like, this isn't cool. The company's owner operator from conducting tours and canoe and kayak sessions in the border town Eagle Pass, causing imminent and irreparable harm to EPI. I don't know what, is the EPI is the company? Abbott, so this is an Abbott idea, I guess. Of course it would be, because it's lacking of humanity. Yeah, Panda Man. What, you don't think Fuentes makes some good points, Panda Man? I'm shocked to hear that you don't think that. You don't think Fuentes is right on some things, huh? Panda Man, you can go ahead and admit it. We know who you are. Abbott posted a 15-second video. So Abbott's bragging about this. This is great. They roll. They apparently roll. It's like when you design a bench they can't be slept on, right? That's what this is. Abbott posted a 15-second video on Twitter showing buoys being loaded from trailers that would be deployed in the river near the border town of Eagle Pass. The Texas Department of Public Safety is overseeing the deployment, the governor said in a tweet on Friday. Abbott signed a bill to deny workers water breaks. That's correct. We covered that on the News Underground. Abbott, right before one of the harshest heat waves Texas has ever seen historically since, we've been keeping records over 100 years. Greg Abbott made sure that companies could not be held liable if their employees die of heat stroke. Made sure that that was okay. They don't have to give them water breaks. That's fine. Work them until they die. That's the Abbott way. Do you think Abbott could handle those temperatures? Believes why people are spirited black baby. Oh, there he is. I knew it, Panda Man. I knew you agreed with Nick Fuentes on something. Of course you do. Of course you do. Does that disgust you? It should disgust you. It disgusts me that I'm even letting you stay here. Pretty fucking disgusting, isn't it? Maybe you should question your beliefs. Abbott, a longtime critic of the Biden administration's border policies, announced the plan last month and that the state would deploy 1,000-foot floating barrier. During the announcement, Texas Department of Public Safety Director Colonel Stephen McCraw touted the buoy barrier. Sorry, this is like a tongue twister. Touted the buoy barrier could be quickly deployed and said it's mobile. Ooh. He explained the buoy would be anchored to the bottom of the waterway, adding the buoys are roughly 4 to 6 feet in height, depending on water level. You still with me? During the announcement, Texas Department of Public Safety Director wait. Okay. There are, quote, ways to overcome the floating barrier, but, quote, it takes great effort, specialized skills, and equipment to do it. So that's great. You're a desperate mother trying to cross the Rio Grande. You got a kid. You're on some shabby ass boat, and now, you're on some boat. It's a one-way trip. Okay, you're not churning around in your fucking boat and heading back. It's a one-way trip. All this is going to do is get a lot of innocent people killed. And don't give me that, oh, well, they're not innocent, they're criminals, and that parent shouldn't be bringing the kid over here. Look, man, they are incredibly desperate people that would make America better with their presence, with their hard work. And if they could, if the system allowed them to enter legally in a time frame that made sense, not 5 to 8 to even longer years for your paperwork to process, for you to become natural, the permanent resident to a citizen system. The system doesn't work. Okay, and yes, they are innocent people. They're not fucking criminals coming over here. The new barrier comes after a series of migrant drownings in the Rio Grande River in recent days left 4 people dead, including an infant. Oh, yeah, well, the person shouldn't be bringing the infant. What about? Last weekend, a woman and a baby girl were found unresponsive in the river, said Texas DPS Lieutenant Christopher Oliveras. A dead man and woman were found on Sunday and Monday, respectively, he added. In recent years, migrants have resorted to increasingly risky and often fatal paths to evade detection and enter the U.S. In March. In March, a migrant was found dead among a dozen people stowed away in a train car near Eagle Pass. In 2022, a Texas National Guardsman drowned in the Rio Grande, attempted to rescue a woman crossing the river. So that was interesting. It's complicated out there. It's not like they're exactly racist. We have a Texas Guardsman drowning, trying to rescue a migrant. That year was the deadliest for migrants crossing the U.S.-Mexican border, with at least 748 people dying at the border. We can do better. Okay? We can enforce our borders and also treat poor people like human beings. a couple thousand people coming into this country isn't going to change anything. And in fact, like I've said this before and I'll say it again, we have so much space in the middle of America. We could literally just have a town, right? Have Mexico town, have Afghanistan town. Move them in and let them build. Let them be construction workers. Let them be electricians. Let them be plumbers. Teach them how to do these things. But right, give them all they need to to make their own place here in America. I guarantee you within 5 years that it would be one of the most industrious and productive cities in America. Okay? I'm just trying to say we have the money, we have the resources. What's stopping this? Once again, politics. Politics. It's a really handy scapegoat for the right wing, and the neoliberal left is not savvy or skilled enough to actually fix this problem either. They do their little neoliberal solutions, their little Band-Aid solutions. That's why Joe Biden still has kidnapped children unaccounted for, hanging out in cement prisons. I hope he at the very least took him out of those cement prisons, but he might not have. And okay, Davey, yeah, thank you. I was being hyperbolic. The numbers are much higher than a few thousand. What I'm trying to say is, though, if we made the system more humane, we could document these people. We could give them an opportunity. We could have them become tax-paying citizens very quickly, productive members of society very quickly. It does not benefit. It benefits certain industries to keep them illegal because then you can pay them under the table. All right, the farming industry loves illegal immigrants. Restaurant industry loves illegal immigrants. Right? Because they're undocumented. I don't have to pay them, and I can pay them whenever I want. So I'm just saying, man, we could look at this in a completely different way, and it could actually benefit America more than we could even imagine if we just embrace these people instead of fear-mongering with them. Star Troopian, welcome back. I figured, I should have played this before the other one. I should have had this lined up properly. We're getting there. It's so humid. It's so fucking hot. So this is AOC talking about moving on to the next story is Supreme Court. And I thought I would open up, since we're talking about AOC so much, let's hear her statements, her comments on the Supreme Court. Should be giving special status to all Mexican gays. They should immediately get a green card. See, I don't know if I even agree with that, but I think there should be a very clear process that is, that doesn't take over 10 years. I mean, some people, it literally takes over 10 years to immigrate into the United States. And I look at how much money and resources, it's like, what are we doing here? We got people that are begging to be taxpayers, right? Begging to be productive members of our society, and we have room. It's not like we're the UK or Britain, right? We're some tiny little island. We got room, dog. In the UK than America. So I'm just reading your comment, Al Rakabi. There's no way to apply immigration this way. You got a subjective manager. Yeah. It's more complicated in the UK and in Britain. It doesn't excuse the racism from characters like Suella Braverman. But yeah, there's room in the UK too. Let's be real. With that said, UK, Germany, they're taking in way more refugees than the United States does. Tri-state North American country, we can get close to the line of governments. Yeah. The sooner we realize that more people doesn't necessarily make us weaker, right? That it's politics holding back this incredible massive pool of people. Could you imagine a microchip factory in Mexico town, right? A fucking lithium battery production plant in Afghanistan town? What is the problem here? What is the problem, right? Politics. It's fucking politics and racism. But anyway, back to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, I mean, right? I mean, did we have any doubts? You know, did we have any doubts that the extreme activist Supreme Court was going to be doing this stuff? And here we have it. I mean, irrevocably changing legal precedent. Every ruling flying in the face of decades of legal precedent. Doesn't matter. These people are the definition of activists, right? Right-wingers back in the, old Newt Gingrich days used to complain about activist Supreme Court judges. They were being hyperbolic and disingenuous. This is accurate. These people are legislating from the bench. Okay. They are as biased as can be. They're taking money from oligarchs proudly, defending it. This is the worst Supreme Court. And let me tell you something. The fact that the neoliberals are not adding more seats says everything about this fucking party, doesn't it? Oh, what about democracy? Oh, they're taking over. Oh, it's an activist court, activist Supreme Court, activist Supreme Court. Wow, so you have power to change that. Are you going to use that? Oh, no, not really. Oh, gosh, I don't know. Gee, I don't know. Golly, gee, go. Oh, we're kind of weak pussies. We don't really want to change anything. Okay, then shut the fuck up. If you're not going to use your power as a party to add more seats to this completely fucking out of control Supreme Court, then shut the fuck up. Because I don't want to hear it. We lost those seats because of you, Obama. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Mitch McConnell dragging the process out for the final year of Obama's presidency, and the neoliberals letting it fucking happen. So shut the fuck up unless you're going to use your fucking power to do something about this. Because, yeah, it's a fucking travesty. What the fuck are you going to do about it? You're the ones in charge. I'm speaking directly to the neoliberals, not specifically to AOC. I haven't heard her statements here, so maybe she agrees with me. Let's find out. But fuck, man. It's like abortion as well. Oh, we care about abortion. Yeah, that's why you dragged it out for 20 fucking years. And then instead of codifying it into law, you let the right-wing idiots destroy women's reproductive rights for entire generations, maybe. Right? And then the neoliberals, right back to their usual fucking, we're progressives, we're lefty script. You're not fucking left. You're not defending left values. You're losers. Anyway, let's hear what AOC has to say.
Been a little bit right away into some of these Supreme Court rulings. So we got 3 really bad Supreme Court rulings last week. The first was on affirmative action. The Supreme Court essentially struck down affirmative action last week. And this, of course, does have implications for our community. These are institutions that have historically excluded on the basis of race, gender, and identity. And affirmative action was a program that was meant to make up for the harm of that and legacy of the history of discrimination in these institutions. The Supreme Court struck that down, but I do think it's important to know. And one of the things that we immediately said was affirmative action solely on the basis of race was what was overturned. But affirmative action for wealth and privilege, if your parents attended college.
I'm not surprised that Panda Man would be saying that, even though last week I did an entire segment about why affirmative action is important, why it works, why it's not, even though it on the face of it, it seems rather racist, right? This is a government-based policy based strictly off race. How can that not be racist? It actually is important because without affirmative action, what happens is that black and brown people do not get into college, period. The admissions drop considerably. The reason why that is not because black and brown people are stupider than white or Asian people. It's that they historically start on a lower class level, a lower economic rung. All right, and that's systemic racism. That's how this system is geared right now. So those people who start lower in society when they start off, they don't have all the academic skills they need to get up there. They need that affirmative action to get that. And then we get black and brown lawyers and business people and business owners, they're just as capable as anyone else when given the same opportunities. But when not given the same opportunities, when affirmative action is not present, they do not have the full capability to be in the same position as a white or Asian person is. So I guess it doesn't matter that I'm saying all this, right, Panda Man? Because you're just going to be like, well, I don't agree with it anyway. But you're actually wrong. Once again, you're actually fucking wrong. It actually is a policy that helps prevent systemic racism. And maybe if we lived in a perfect society where systemic racism didn't exist and black and brown people were treated equally in society, we wouldn't need affirmative action. That is not the case. No matter how much conservatives like to deny, oh, I'm not racist, we voted Obama or whatever, we had Obama, no, racism doesn't exist anymore. You're fucking wrong. And I plenty of fucking studies to point to it. Doesn't matter. It's all fake news, right? To the conservative. But no, affirmative action is actually effective at reducing the effects of systemic racism.
Or if your parents gave money to a school, that was untouched. Affirmative action based on geography was untouched. Affirmative action based on virtually any other factor was left untouched. The Supreme Court solely said that race.
And let's not forget the demographic that this is hurting the most are white women. White women are the ones getting hurt the most by this Supreme Court decision.
And a person's racial identity is the only thing that's not allowed to be considered in the broad mix of developing an admissions process. And so, that's one of the first things that we said was that legacy admissions is inherently unjust and unfair. And in fact, in terms of a response, what we're already seeing is some legal some folks already starting to mount legal cases against legacy admissions in some of these institutions. So we will be keeping a close eye on that in terms of how that proceeds.
Yeah, and if you want more details about affirmative action, please be sure to check out my YouTube channel. I posted, I believe this was in the U.S. section, the last U.S. video I did. Check it out, link right there. Like and subscribe to your boy's YouTube channel. Check out the last YouTube video about U.S., I believe is where we covered affirmative action and why it is important, because initially, a couple years ago, I was thinking, I don't know, I don't like the idea of policy based off race. That doesn't seem smart to me. It's one of those things where it's like, it does not make sense to a layman. You do kind of have to get into the weeds to kind of understand, why is this effective? Why is this important? And it's so funny. We got Clarence Thomas right here, who famously had a comment in the 80s about how his life would be completely different if it wasn't for affirmative action. So it's interesting to see him burn the bridge behind him. But of course, that's just normal conservative MO. All right. Last little bit here about the Supreme Court, I believe. I should have had this at the beginning. But yeah, last little bit about the Supreme Court. We're almost done with the U.S. section, and we're going to be moving on to Ukraine. So if you're here for that hot Ukraine news, stick around. And don't you think I don't have the motherfucking magic? I got some amazing clips. I have some amazing clips for Ukraine. So stick around if that's what you're here for.
Okay. I'll take one more.
And we do have a little bit more good news before we get to Ukraine.
Given the U.S. Supreme Court's decision last week on affirmative action, I'm interested if the president has a stance on whether Congress should take action to ban legacy preferences in higher education admissions.
I don't have anything further to add on the president's position on what you just laid out. What I can say is, and the president said this, he gave a full-throated kind of remarks on what he saw the Supreme Court do, which was unprecedented, which is, as you all know, this was when you think about affirmative action, it had been a constitutional kind of constitutional right for decades, and had been held up by Republicans and Democrats. And so it was another another act by the Supreme Court that was unprecedented when you think about the Dobbs decision and now this. And so let's not forget the president was, when he was senator, he was the chair of the Judiciary Committee, and he has the expertise, he understands how this all works. And it is incredibly unfortunate what we saw last week. I will say this, one of the things that the president has taken very seriously is to make sure that we have federal judges that are diverse, that represent the country. We have been able to not just nominate, but get through about 136 judges, again, who are diverse, and he's made that one of his top priorities as we look
Talk
at
about
what's
the Supreme Court, Jack. What is this
the
malarkey?
Supreme Court currently. All right, everybody, thank you so much. I'll see some of you.
Great job. Wow.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much. Wow. Neoliberals really killing it. I didn't think anyone could top how terrible Jen Psaki was, or Psaki. But yeah. I wanted to show this. I want to give a little help to the communists out there. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm trying to be so charitable. I want to be charitable to the honest communists. Okay? I don't know if this is one of them. I don't know where this guy stands on Russia, Ukraine. But in the meantime, I like his setup. I like his little green screen setup. It makes me jealous. Wish I should do something similar, right? His is less cluttered. Does his setup work better than mine? Be honest. Okay, you be honest with me. Does this look better than mine?
Negotiations between UPS and its more than 300,000 workers repped by the Teamsters have collapsed. There are no talks underway right now. That's because the union walked away from the table on Tuesday, days after demanding the company hand in its best and final offer. And what UPS put on the table was still insufficient.
Dookie, I'm sure.
Teamsters members have already authorized a strike, and Union President Sean O'Brien told the company that workers will not show up on the job after the current labor agreement expires at the end of the month. Union leadership needs time to review any new offer, then, if approved, send it down to members to review and vote on. So the company may have by now passed a threshold for when it can avoid a work stoppage, unless it gets its shit together and puts forward a sufficient proposal very soon.
The
union.
I think the strikers just need to do it. The strikers shouldn't, because the UPS is going to be waiting until the final minute to actually do it. So just get it over with. Strike now. Bring it to that level. Don't wait until the 25th or whatever the hell the deadline is. No, do it right now. Hit their bottom line right frickin' now. And then start negotiating, because quit this fiddle fucking around. They have no respect for you. They have no respect for the union. They're playing fucking games. Because what are they trying to do while they're delaying, while they're stretching out this process? They got their minions in the media shitting all over this, right? Oh, I don't know. Your packages aren't going to get there on time. Oh, yeah, these union people really hate the fact that you're not going to get your medicine. That's what they're going to be doing, disparaging the union effort this entire time. So just do it. Just pull the trigger.
The union did make some progress in negotiations, getting the company to commit to installing air conditioners in delivery trucks and eliminating the two-tiered employment system at the company. But UPS is still asking workers for concessions, despite UPS making $100 billion last year in revenue off the backs of those same workers. It's the most revenue ever brought in by the company in its over 100-year history. And UPS reported $2 billion in straight profits in just the first quarter of this year.
And you make a great point, Zeoduke. It basically has to be an intentional decision. And my speculation is that they're doing it to save money on gas, right? Because it's like, yeah, you got a couple vehicles, who cares? But they have fleets of thousands of vehicles, right? So if you don't put AC in a couple thousand vehicles, you're saving hundreds, thousands of dollars on gas that would be used up, from you know, from giving your employee a little bit of reprieve from the fucking, you know, incredibly hot weather that we're seeing.
The details of UPS's offer haven't been publicly released, but the union previously reported that the company's proposed wage increases don't even keep up with inflation.
Yeah, Zio, dude, great point. Yeah.
Upon news that contract
We're being
negotiations
green.
collapsed, UPS saw its share prices
Start
decline
chirping, yeah.
as investors acknowledged the very real possibility of a strike now, the largest private employer strike in U.S. history. In the meantime, tens of thousands of UPS workers rep by the Teamsters have already started practice pickets.
This is
at
awesome.
Locations across the U.S.
Yo,
Video of one of those practice pickets was posted by O'Brien, and you can clearly see the union strike game is strong.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Get the lowrider out of the fucking garage, dude, to do some union protesting. See what I mean? Like, step 3 doesn't have to be like, you know, awkward and lame and stupid. Like, this is step 3 right here, folks. This is putting in the work, right? They've done step 1. They informed themselves on why a union is important. They've achieved step 2. They've joined a union, and now they're out here showing you what step 3 looks like. This is how it is literally that simple. I am not fucking with you. They want to make it complicated. Oh, just so complicated. You got to do this. You got to do that. It's impossible to organize. And they're going to get you. And they're going to. No. Leverage your power and they will listen. Leverage your power and they will listen. Well, Unsatiable, sometimes you have an opportunity to do it and sometimes you don't. And, you know, and look, and if you're in an employment situation where you're not getting respect from your employer and it's, you support unions, but it's not very feasible for you to start your own union. Maybe you're part-time, you're going to be leaving anyway. Then look, you got to, work as hard as you can to try different and find different employment while you're working that job. Obviously don't ruin your income source or anything, but you have to be strategic. You have to be smart about it. Look, if you're working for an employer that doesn't respect you and doesn't respect your labor, leverage your power. If you want the job, you want to keep that job, or look for different employment. Don't reward that employer with just showing up to work every day and just doing your job. Don't reward that employer's mentality, right, with your labor. But yeah. I mean, it just depends on your situation there, Unsatiable, right? But yeah, if you have an opportunity to join a union, 9 times out of 10, it's a good idea. With that said, there are unions big enough that have been basically fully corrupted by various political parties. Just knee-jerk voting, voting and supporting neoliberals, or knee-jerk and voting and supporting right-wingers. It's usually the neoliberals, though. So just because it's a union organization doesn't mean you shouldn't be critical of it. But 9 times out of 10, it's a smart thing to join a union. But, there's always that one, right? Folks, I know you've been looking forward to this. It's time. It's everyone's. It's America's #1 favorite segment of the show. It's the mass shooting update. Yes. How many people died in America today? Let's find out. You and me. Let's find out, folks. Let's find out. We had a raucous January 4th with a banger January 5th. It's January 8th. January, February, March, April, May, June, July 8th. It's July 8th. Let's see how many people died since then. 422 U.S. mass shootings in 2023, 5,557 mass shootings since 2013, and 1 whole day since the last mass shooting. Thank you so much, Good Guys with Guns. Aren't they great? Keeping society safe 1 day at a time, sometimes 2, usually 1. Over there in El Paso, Texas, 0 dead and 6 injured, gunman unknown. Like to mention that less than 50% of the murders in America are solved. So you have a good chance of popping off some shots and getting away with it, man. You know, just keep running. Chicago, Illinois, 0 dead and 5 injured. Gunman unknown. Where could he be? Over there in Flint, Michigan. I've been there. Flint, Michigan. Nice town. 0 dead and 4 injured. Gunman unknown. Let's, you know, one thing that I'm hoping is that these 3 gunman unknown situations, I really do hope that the gun was legal. Let's all hope that gun was legal, folks. Legal guns. That's not an assault weapon. Over there in Fort Worth, Texas, 2 dead and 2 injured. Gunman unknown. 2 armed men were shot and killed by police officers. 2 other victims were subsequently found with gunshot wounds. Well, everyone had some fun. Everyone got in on the action. And finally, over there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 0 dead and 5 injured. Juvenile victims. Oh, well, every time, huh? 2 juveniles among the wounded. Gunman unknown. It's the Gunman Unknown Day. Gunman Unknown Day. Mass shooting update. Mass shooting update is, of course, brought to you by Garbage Fuel, the #1 drink mix company in the world. Garbage Fuel would like to remind you that this is your new normal. Get used to it, America. The right wing have won. Are the neoliberals are in charge? What are they doing? What are they doing? Oh, we care so much. Obama cared so much about Sandy Hook. Oh, I care so much. Do they? They don't fucking care? Come on! Garbage Fuel would like to remind you that they are the #1 drink mix company in the world, made from 100% sourced garbage juice. Like to remind you that this is your new normal. Thank you so much, Garbage Fuel. And thank you to the Mass Shooting Update. Everyone, Mass Shooting Update. So fun. We're having good times here. Thank you, YouTube. That's your U.S. update. Bye! Bye, YouTube!